Hey everyone, my name is Topher. I'm a YouTuber living here in Taiwan. I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran. This is not my planned video this week, but there's been some PLA Navy events that have been going on, so I feel that I need to address it. Pineapple green tea, yum, yum, yum. Delicious. In the past few weeks, including today, as I'm filming this video, the PLA Navy, they've done a couple of live fire exercises. The first was off the coast of Vietnam. The second was in between Australia and New Zealand. And the third is happening about 75 kilometers southwest of where I'm sitting right now, off of the coast of southern Taiwan in Kaohsiung. So the question is, are these live fire exercises in international waters, are these planned training events, or are these just statements? Well, I'm not going to waste your time. They're statements. They're geopolitical statements. There's not really much training value happening with any of these. I mean, there's some, but not much. Actually, these are all reactions to what the nearby countries have done. And I understand that these live fire exercises are good for local Chinese propaganda. Within China, they can print headlines like, oh, Australia shocked. But on the international stage, it's a disservice. They're not helping China's case at all. It just makes China look like a petty bully, an unprofessional petty bully. I say unprofessional because according to international law, before conducting live fire exercises out in international waters, you have to give notice. This is so that commercial ships and planes can divert their typical routes so that they don't accidentally get shot. And China has given the bare minimum notice. They have technically followed the rules, but in a very unprofessional way. All right, let's break these down one by one. So Vietnam slightly adjusted what it considers its territorial waters in the Gulf of Tonkin. China didn't like this. They responded by holding a live fire exercises in the Gulf of Tonkin. Then about the same time in the South China Sea, an Australian surveillance aircraft was just conducting a routine mission, basically an intelligence gathering mission, maybe finding submarines, who knows, I don't know. But China considers all of the South China Sea its own territory according to the 10-dash line map. And it responded by sending a jet in front of Australia's surveillance aircraft and firing flares in front of Australia's aircraft. This is super dangerous and super unprofessional. What Australia said, hey, that's super dangerous and super unprofessional. Well, a few days later, China sailed 3 of its Navy ships in between Australia and New Zealand and conducted live fire exercises. Now, Australia claims that they didn't give proper notification because they didn't actually find out about the live fire exercises until half an hour after they started. But China disputes this. I don't know what the truth is. At any rate, it was certainly a last-minute exercise, a last-minute decision to sail in between Australia and New Zealand and conduct these exercises. This was not a planned event. This was a reaction. Then a few days ago, Taiwan caught a Chinese ship that was dragging its anchor and damaged an undersea internet cable off the coast of Penghu. This is an island that Taiwan controls. Taiwan's Coast Guard detained the ship and detained all the crew, all of which were Chinese, and it's a Chinese-owned vessel. Then the next day, China announced that they're going to conduct live fire exercises 75 kilometers off the coast of Penghu. So again, clearly a statement, clearly a reaction to their gray zone tactics being discovered and detained. And this is what China has historically done. A prominent U.S. congresswoman visits Taiwan, military exercise. The political party that the CCP dislikes gets elected in Taiwan, military exercise. Taiwan's president visits Hawaii and Guam, U.S. territories, military exercise. It's all reactions. The focus for China is not in training value for its Navy. The focus are geopolitical statements, propaganda. There's another element to this. There's something else that's happening. Right now in Southeast Asia, there's a large joint training exercise happening, and China's uninvited. This is called Joint Exercise Cobra Gold. It's happening in Thailand. The countries that are participating are Thailand, the USA, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And there's a bunch of other countries that are invited to observe. Now, what's kind of interesting is that I think it was a Facebook post initially, the Cobra Gold Facebook page said that Taiwan was participating, but then they corrected that and erased Taiwan from that post. And I think maybe that was actually just an accident. I watched the opening ceremony and I didn't see any evidence of Taiwan being there. There wasn't the Republic of China flag. Taiwan's flag wasn't there. I didn't see any Taiwanese soldiers there. So maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was provoking China. I don't think that was the case. I think it was genuinely an accident on some low-ranking social media manager's part. Mistakes happen. But if you watch some of the footage of the opening ceremony, and I'll put it on screen now, there is one interesting aspect, and that is this shot right here. And that's not the soldier in focus, but all the soldiers in the background, the American soldiers in the background. You see this captain with the red beret? That's Air Force Special Forces. This man is what's called an Air Force Combat Controller. And the ones with the darker red, we call this maroon, the maroon berets, these are pararescue. All these guys are Air Force Special Forces. And this patch right here is the U.S. Army Special Forces Command. You can see Special Forces, Ranger, Airborne, and then that patch that looks like a sword, that's Special Forces Command. Some call this the Delta Force patch. This is top-notch Special Forces. The U.S. has over 3,000 soldiers and Marines participating in this exercise, but I think it's interesting that there's definitely a Special Forces presence. And if you look at the schedule of Cobra Gold, next week there's going to be some amphibious assault training as well as a joint live fire exercise. So if we see a Chinese response, if they have their own live fire exercise that's happening in international waters, that's off the coast of one of these participating countries, don't be surprised. I'm sitting here finishing my delicious lunch at Good Day Cafe, and I realize that I forgot to mention that I haven't actually seen any videos or pictures of the live fire exercises happening. What I'm getting at is that there's no evidence that China actually conducted live fires. Maybe they just said that they were going to. We don't know the extent of these live fire exercises. Did they test their air defense systems? Did they test cruise missiles? Did they just shoot pistols off the deck of a ship? Or did they do nothing? We don't know. I don't know. If you happen to know a source of actual photographic or video evidence of these live fire exercises, please leave them in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, that's basically everything. Please let me know in the comments if you think I missed something. And again, please give it a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed, share to people who you think might be interested. Let's help the YouTube algorithm share this message that China is sending a statement, that it's not necessarily something to worry about. It's not a big threat. There's no immediate invasion happening. This is just a geopolitical statement. Hey, thanks a lot for watching, and a big thanks to my channel members. A big point of my channel is to calm down the sensationalism surrounding China and Taiwan, because I really hope that we can just live in peace, right? Peace and love. I'll see ya.